Hey Crafty Friends, this is Jen from Katahdin Krafts, and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel today. Today, in this project, I am using lots and lots of Honeybee Stamps products. Honeybee is definitely one of my favorites, so I was super excited to work with them this month. First up, we have Easter Buddies. This is part of their new spring release. Look how cute those rabbits are and the details of the carrots and the patterns on those Easter eggs. And then we have Easter Basket Builder, and I'm showing you the comparison of the size of the eggs. So today I do use both sizes, and look at those sweet little bunny ears. I didn't end up putting them in this card, but I know that I will use them in another. And so they also have this Loads of Spring that goes with their big Pickup Tailgate set. And you can see that the stuff, you can stamp everything right there, like the carrots and the Easter eggs, and it will all fit right into the back of the pickup. But for my card and project today, I wanted to do a little mixture. I wanted to do the carrots and the eggs all together and a larger bunny. So I pieced all of mine together from the different sets. And I picked up my Sentiments from Hoppy Easter. This is also part of their new release. The tailgate has been around for a little while, and they have different sets that can go with that. And this is another set that does work well with it, which is the Tailgate Alpha, and that fits into that back spot. And so you can make any sentiment that you want, and it will fit right in there. And then I did use Meadow Borders from Lawn Fawn for my grassy meadows. So the first thing I did was take a piece of 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock and cut that in half, and that fits perfectly into my Misty. And I'm using Copic friendly cardstock and Copic friendly ink with Lawn Fawn's Jet Black ink because I will be doing Copic coloring today. And this is the process that I like to do, is just take the time to stamp out all my images at once and then take the time to cut them all at once. This process oftentimes gives me extra pieces for future cards as well. And I'm stamping each one of them 2 to 3 times, and that's why I love the Misty. I just make sure that it's back into alignment in the corner and then stamp again. And you can see that all the images are all ready to go now. I don't end up using them all today, like I said, but I have a lot for future Easter cards. Lining up the tailgate die cut now, and I'm going to just put a little low tack purple tape on there and run that through my die cut machine along with everything else. So now I have all my images ready to go. So the first thing I'm doing is taking a piece of cardstock that I had on the side, and I'm just going to ink this up with some Distress Oxide ink in Mowed Lawn, and this is going to be my grassy field. And I'm just taking the time to blend that in, and then I'm going to cut that out. My format today is a 6x6 card, so my card panel is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and that will give a nice 1/8 inch border around the whole card, which I like to do. Now I'm starting to build my pretty spring sky, and I started the bottom off with some squeezed lemonade. I just wanted a nice soft color going from the green up, and then I'm going to use a little spun sugar along with my favorite things, Rolling Cloud stencil. This has been one of my favorite cloud stencils at the moment. I love how you have different options on each side. So right now I'm just lightly blending in some of that spun sugar, and then I don't want such a stark contrast, so I'm going to just take my already inked up brush and just work that back through. I'm going to do the same with the yellow and the spun sugar, the pink. And then I don't have such a stark contrast with the white showing. And now I'm kind of figuring out where I'm going to put my stencil again, and then I just simply flip it. And I'm going to use the other side to make those clouds, and now I'm going to use some lavender. And I'm going to do the same process again. I'm going to ink up my brush, and then I'm going to take off some of it on the side of my mat just so I don't get such a harsh line. And then I'm going to ink it up a little bit more again and go back in and take out some of that white. And I'm going to work that through the whole sky the same way. Now I'm going to flip that again, and now I'm going to use my very favorite sky color, which is Tumbled Glass. I'm just going to work that on the top. And then I am going to take this tumbled glass. Again, I'm not going to ink it up again. And I'm just going to go back through the whole card and give a little bit of a blue tinge on the sky. And that just kind of softens out all those colors as well. And then we have our sky and our grassy border. And now I'm going to start working on the Copic coloring of the truck. This is quite the process. It takes me a little while to do it, so I'm greatly speeding this up for time purposes. But I'm leaving all of my caps on the edge, on the sides, and you can come back at any time and check out the colors that I used. I wanted a nice soft pastel color for my truck, so I went with V91, V93, and V95, and they're a very soft purplish mauvish color almost. And I always start with my lightest color, so that would be the V91, and I do a shadow mapping. So I go around and I think about where I want my dark areas. So I put the light down so that starts getting the paper saturated. And then I go back with my mid-tone, which is the V93 in this case, and I lay that back on to where I'm going to put my shadows, and then I add the V95, the V95, and then I go back and I work out all of those colors back and forth, the three colors, and just keep on adding color. Now you can see I'm struggling a little bit with my V91 today because it does need to be refilled, and unfortunately I do not have that refill on hand right now. So when I was putting it down, it was lifting up some of my color, so I used V93 and laid down a little bit more color, then I would soften that out with the V91 pen. So I made it work, but I definitely have to order that Copic refill. So you can see my process here of just working on those colors, and it does take me a long time, especially with such a large area, but I really like the shading that I get with it and the dimension. And I don't like harsh lines, so that's why I take my time and go back and forth. Now for the bumper, I'm using cool grays today. So I'm starting with the C1 and I'm moving all the way up to C7. And you can see eventually in some parts of the truck we're going to get up to even C9, which is a nice dark, deep color. And so I'm just working all of that out, working on the edges, and I want those highlights to kind of be in the middle. And as you can see, when I Copic color, I move my project all around. And it's just easier that way, I find, to try to get into those little areas. And I wanted that to have like a little rusty feel underneath the car, so I brought in an E99 marker and just did a couple little light flicks in a couple sections, and then I'm just going to smooth that out. And at this point, my cardstock is pretty saturated with ink, which is okay. So if you were to flip it over, you would see the ink on the other side, but that just means that the ink is getting into the fibers, and that helps you get a better blend. Now I'm just going to do a few of these so you can see the colors that I chose for my carrots and the eggs and the chicks. Now when it comes to the eggs, I pulled out all of my fluorescent Copic markers. It's colors that I don't use that often, but I really wanted those Easter eggs to pop and to be the focus of my card today. So you can see that I grabbed out all of those, and there was no really rhyme or reason. I just kind of filled in the coloring or the colors. I didn't worry about shading or anything with these because they're bright enough and they have so many patterns and designs that you don't really have to worry about dimension. So I have that all ready. And for some reason, I took a break on that truck, and so now I have to come back and finish up those tires. I think it was kind of like a dinner time moment, and I put that aside, and then I picked up the wrong things when I got back. But all's good. So I had a little break of that truck because it is quite the process to get that all colored up. And now I'm just going to go back and fix out those tires and a little bit of the muffler and the undercarriage of the truck. And now I also have to do all of the windows. I didn't want to use the just plain gray because I had so much gray in the bottom. So I used a little bit of blue in the lightest shade that they have, which is a B triple or quadruple 0. And then I just smoothed that out with some C0. Now I was going to slip some things into the tailgate, so I'm grabbing a ruler and my pen knife, and I'm just going to make a slit in the top of that truck. And that way I can put stuff behind it. Now I don't use a lot of pressure when I do this, therefore I make probably about 4 different swipes with just a little bit of pressure, and that gives you more control so you're not slipping and sliding everywhere. So I did that, and then I'm going to color in my bunny's ears with RV 93 and 91. Just quick little coloring of those ears. They're not a big spot. And then I did go around on my bunnies with some cool grays as well, just for a little bit more dimension, just so it's not just completely white. And now it's time to assemble a little bit, or to see where my placement's going to be. I'm going to have that truck hang off the edge. I like doing that with these large format cards and stamps. And I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work, but I was just going to start layering. Honeybee stamp set, Loads of Spring. They do have an adorable bunny, his head and his little booty, but I wanted a larger bunny sticking out of my truck that I was doing today. And so I was going to go with the one that is from the Easter Buddies set. And I did have to make another slit at the top of that truck in order to slip him in there. And I felt super bad cutting off his ears. Yeah, I actually talked out loud to the bunny and said I was sorry. And now I'm going to slip that right underneath the truck. And I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive in the back just to hold that down, and so it didn't slide around on me when I was layering the rest of the truck. And I thought that was cute. Like I said, I kind of wanted that to be the center of focus on my truck, and I wanted it to be larger, the same scale as the bunny that's on the side. They look like they're little buddies. So now I'm just going to load that up. There was no rhyme or reason. I was just trying, keeping it. I was actually trying not to keep it too symmetrical, but I think I ended up quite symmetrical. And then I thought that I needed a little more pop at the bottom of my card. So this cute little set that comes in the Easter basket was perfect for that. And I'm just going to use those fluorescent colors again. I'm not worrying about shading with these eggs at all, because there's enough going on with them. And then I thought, well, this bird should be sitting on top of the bunny, the little chick. Isn't that cute? He's getting a little ride on the bunny when the bunny's trying to search for some extra carrots or something. And so now I cut out my sentiment with some gray cardstock, and I chose to do honey. I'm going with Honey Bunny. My daughter's name is Hunter, and her nickname is Honey. So they happen to have a cute little bunny stamp that fits right into that license plate. So that worked out perfectly. So I can make my little Honey Bunny stamp or sentiment. And I just freehanded that with the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. And I get nervous when I do that, but hey, it worked out fine. And now for placement with my sentiment, You Make Me So Hoppy. I put everything in the MISTI so I could make sure that I got that lined up okay. This all just enabled me to see where that truck should set and to make sure I had that sentiment in the perfect spot. So I just made a few marks and then put that right back in alignment in the corner of the MISTI. I'm going to ink that up, and I am going to stamp it twice. That way I get a nice crisp clear image. And now I'm just making a little bit more marks where that truck went, just to make sure that I got that lined back up with everything. And maybe I didn't need to make that many, but it made me feel safer. I was a little bit worried about having it hang over on the edge and cutting that off, but it worked out. And now I'm just using a pink piece of cardstock that is 6 by 12, and then I scored it at the 6-inch mark. Then I cut another white cardstock panel at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 and put that in the center. And I have so many of these little images left over that I'm going to dress up the inside of that card a bit. Now I'm just testing to make sure I liked that color, and seeing if at this point I was contemplating leaving a little bit on the edge of the truck, but I decided to go ahead and just trim that clean. And this was, a little scary because I did like the truck, and I hesitate for just a second, and then poof, I turned it over, and it wasn't bad. I don't mind it. And there were a few of these little grass blades that were showing up, or that were going a little bit over the bunny on that license plate, so I went and just trimmed those off. I marked it so I knew which ones. And then I'm just going to add a little glue to this. I use a liquid glue often because I like the wiggliness that it gives me so with placement. I wanted to pop up my bunny, so I used some foam squares for him, and as well as the little chick standing on the bunny. And I'm just going to layer the egg set right underneath the truck. And then I'm going to pop up that other little chick on the side as well. And this just gives the card a lot of nice dimension. Layering is nice, especially with scene building. And now our little bunny needs a carrot to hold. And you could make a slit in his arms and have him hold an egg as well. But this bunny was just diving in the truck as well and pulled out a carrot for a snack. I like having little stories to go with my card making. And so now I wanted a few more little details on the edges. So there's some cute little bees in the Loads of Spring set. So I'm just going to stamp those randomly. There's 3 little bees, and I'm going to put all 3 of them on the card. And then I hit those each with just a little bit of yellow. I didn't want to smear the Oxide inks, so I was just going to be super careful and just do a couple little stripes and call it good. And then for little details, I'm using my Wink Stella clear marker or clear glitter pen and just adding a little sparkles to all of those eggs. I like sparkly things, and I love doing Easter eggs with the kids. Do you all still? Like, all of my kids are getting a little bit old, but they still like it. We get creative, and I pull out some of my glitter glitz last year, and yeah, we were kind of creative. And for my last little bit, I had these cute little pom-poms in my stash, so I put a generous dot of liquid glue, and I kind of smushed the pom-pom a little bit. And then I just pop that right on for a dimensional tail. And I love that little detail of the card. That was probably my favorite part. And now, like I said before, I'm going to decorate the inside of the card. I had plenty of little embellishments left, so why not? And a little surprise when somebody opens it, and you can write your own handwritten message. And now I'm adding my card panel to my card base. And of course, I had to add a little bit of bling to my card. I love bling. And Honeybee has an awesome line of gem stickers out, and these are from the Playful Pastel group, and I'm just adding a few. I add some blue for the blue sky, and a purplish one in that lavender area, and then a pink one closer to the pink. So I'm just matching them with my background colors. They are self-adhesive, so you can just pop them right on. And I think that gems always add the perfect finishing touch. So there we go. The card is complete. I absolutely love it. I like the way it came out. I like the bold colors, and then also the soft colors and the scene. I love building scenes. So thank you so much for stopping in and crafting with me today. I appreciate your support. Make sure you go to ScrapbookPal.com and check out all of their stuff. They have everything that I used today, plus lots and lots more, and they are super fast with shipping. You will absolutely love it. I will see you back next month with another fun card project. Take care and happy crafting!